Both NHL and NBA seasons run over pretty much the same general time frame for the regular season. As a result, their all-star breaks are typically around the same time as well. And instead of getting the NHL All-Star Game this year, we got the Four Nations Face-Off matched up against the NBA All-Star Game. And to say that hockey dominated would be an understatement. Not only did they dominate when it came in the ratings department and the reception from the fan base and the excitement surrounding it, but they doubled the NBA All-Star Game ratings.
Yep.
Look at these numbers that just came in a little while ago. And I want to share the whole screen because we have some audio we have to play as well. But check this out. Canada, USA, Four Nations Face-Off Final made staggering hockey ratings history.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the most viewed Four Nations Face-Off, whatever. It was the most viewed hockey game since like the 2019 Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
The NHL sanctioned Canada-USA final drew 9.3 million viewers on ESPN, which surpassed the NHL record of 9.8 million viewers in the 2019 Stanley Cup, according to Front Office Sports. Additionally, Sportsnet averaged 5.7 million viewers in Canada. Grand total more than 15 million viewers across North America. Compare that to effectively the lowest rated NBA All-Star Game in history at 4.7 million viewers. They completely and totally dominated and embarrassed them. And not just that, but the product itself, the way the fans were talking about it, the way people were tweeting about it on social media, put it on Instagram, whatever you want to talk. Hockey dominated. And it's something that we've never really seen before to this level. And it's a result of, one, them focusing on this national pride stuff, combating against U.S. and Canada with all the tensions that are going on right now, and just the reality that the NBA has become a shell of its former self.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we watched the Four Nations face off a little bit. We did a watch party over on Locals Beardo. You guys can go check that out. Become a member of Geeks Gamers Locals. Take part in some of those watch parties that we do. But I'm not a big hockey guy. You're not a big hockey guy. It was an awesome event.
It was incredible. It felt like Olympics light, I guess. It kind of felt like the World Baseball Classic a little bit, but a lot more important. And I think that the championship was so hyped up because their previous meeting a few days before that was so exciting, and there was a lot of fights. There was a lot of tension because the game was in Canada and they booed the American national anthem. So they dropped the gloves right away and they started fighting in their first matchup. And then just like 4 or 5 days later, they're playing each other again in the championship, and the hype on social media was freaking crazy for the game.
Yeah. And I think truly one of the reasons people think this could be good for the NHL, and it's not to say the NHL is suddenly going to become the most popular sport or anything, but because of the current state of the NBA. And you had PK Subban, a former hockey player who's on ESPN as an analyst. He went on First Take and basically trashed LeBron James and the NBA product as a big reason for why people paid more attention to this. I'm sure you guys saw this.
Oh, two things, your teammates and the fans. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. When you do not show up to play, you're letting your teammates down. When you do not show up to play, you're letting the fans down that are paying you 40, 50, 60 million. I don't care if you're getting 300 million. Congratulations. But these people in here are paying $2,500 a ticket, $5,000, that are blue-collared, hardworking people. If you don't get your head wrapped around that, you shouldn't be in pro sports, because how are we going to grow? How do we expect you to be an example? Well, guess what? You don't want to be. You are one. You're on the biggest stage.
Now, this is directly in response to LeBron James' bitch ass at the last moment sitting out of the NBA All-Star Game, right? That's why he's talking about this, and he compares it to Jordan and Kobe doing whatever they could to put on shows for fans. This entire era of the NBA, I think in large part due to LeBron James, has become a massive turnoff to a lot of longtime sports fans because of this.
Yep.
You know this, John. Like, The idea that that all these guys are just fucking buddy and joining up with each other, switching teams on a fucking whim, combined with everybody sitting out, everybody getting rest, it feels like it is the LeBron effect taken to the next level.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, the low management stuff, actually, that really started with the Spurs back during the Tim Duncan years where, well, we're just going to relax for the playoffs, and that started catching on. And the NBA All-Star game, and this is probably more on Adam Silver and the owners, for them to destroy the East versus West and now have pickup basketball, this is a whole new low right here. These players don't care. What it's really going to take to get the NBA All-Star game to really, I believe, come back and get interested, the winners on the All-Star team are going to have to get like $1 million bonus. They got to play. If they win, they get $1 million. If they lose, they get nothing. And that will incentivize, because these players love their money. It's going to take a financial incentive to get these players in the NBA to play the All-Star game and play to win.
And if you don't think that LeBron has anything to do with this attitude, I want you to listen to Stephen A. Smith talk about how at the last All-Star game, they tried desperately to get these players, these current day NBA players, to realize that they had to actually care about this, that it was like a necessary thing. You have to go out there. You have to try. You have to put forth your effort because the fans are counting on you. They had Larry Bird and Dr. J go in there to talk to these players.
What?
And who undercut all of everything that they said? LeBron fucking James. Listen to this.
Brought up the slam dunk contest. They talk about that. We all brought up the lackadaisical effort that they put forth for the All-Star game on Sunday for All-Star weekend. You think they don't look at LeBron James? Larry Bird and Dr. J and them come in and talk to the team last year, and they think that they've touched the pulse of the players and all of this stuff. And then they say, you know what? LeBron just gave a side eye to everybody else. And the next thing you know, they went out there and allowed 400 points damn near to be scored, putting forth no effort whatsoever. It may not have been his fault, but they didn't view it that way.
Yeah.
Like that.
Wow.
This is LeBron's example, right? The guy, the face of the NBA, the old veteran. He is the one telling no one to give a fuck about this. And then
Wow.
he displays that he doesn't give a fuck about it.
This
It's
is the
sad
reason
and
why
it's
the
pathetic.
NBA has lost 50% of his audience. This is part of the reason why.
Yeah, it is LeBron. Like, it is impossible to look at LeBron's effect and impact that he's had on the league, on the way players behave, on the way players act. And it may not have been intentional, like anything like this, but there's no doubt that they're following an example, and the example is from LeBron James, and it has been to the detriment of the NBA. Now, can hockey potentially capitalize on something like this? Maybe. And I'm not saying it's suddenly going to snap your fingers and all of a sudden, NHL is just going to be super highly rated. But I do think, especially an event like this, it can draw more eyes consistently. And especially if people are maybe turned off by the NBA product, with NHL going on at exactly the same time, they are direct competitors. Maybe people saying, hey, I'm going to take a look at some of these guys. I like seeing this guy. Let me turn into an NHL game of his. And I do think overall it's a net positive for the NHL. Whether they can take advantage of that remains to be seen.